In this video, we'll talk about Aura Coexistence. So till now we have seen how we can communicate from parent component to a child component and child component to parent component in Lightning Web Component. But in real time or real projects, we always have a scenario we have to communicate between Aura component and Lightning Web Component, and there the Aura Coexistence comes. So the first point here is the Lightning Web Component and Aura component can work together. Aura component can contain Lightning Web component. However, the opposite doesn't apply. So that's a very important point from the interview point of view as well and from programming point of view as well. So you can embed your Lightning Web component inside the Aura component, but you can't embed Aura component inside the Lightning Web component. Just remember this red color line. Lightning Web component can't contain Aura components. So if you look at this diagram, the blue color is my Aura component. Within the Aura component, I can embed as many Lightning Web as I want. So let's go to our VS Code and see how we can achieve this. So I am in my VS Code and let's create a component here. So we need two components. First is the Lightning Web component. So I'll go and create a Lightning Web component. I'll give this name LWC Aura Communication. Now my component is ready in the LWC folder, and I need one Aura component, and for that you need to go to again command palette, search for Aura and select create Aura component, and then give the name Aura LWC communication. Make sure your name should be unique in LWC as well. You can't give the same name to Aura component as your Lightning Web component name. Both names should be unique. So, and in Aura component, we usually give the name with a capital letter. So I'll go with this Aura LWC communication. I'll take the default path that is under the Aura component or Aura folder. So now my Aura component is ready. So let's go first to our LWC component and create a lightning card here. And instead of lightning card, what we can do is we'll create a div here and we'll say hello from LWC. And what we can do is we can go back to our Aura component and go to the .cmp file. So cmp file is a component file where we write our HTML. And here what we're gonna do is we'll start typing our layout. So first thing, we want this component to place in a lightning page. So for that, what we'll do is we'll say implements like we do for our Lightning Web component. We place few things in the meta file, like we set is exposed, then we'll set the targets. If you want your Aura component to be exposed, you have to set the implement. So here I'll say sexy page colon, I can say available for all page type. So it will be available for all page types. And then what I want is I want a lightning card. And here, if you observe, everything is coming with the colon, but in the Lightning Web component we use everything with the hyphen. So in Lightning Web component we define lightning hyphen card, but in Aura component we use colon. We'll say lightning colon card. We'll say the title here. We'll give this name Aura LWC communication. Then I have the card. Then I will create a div here, and I'll create some padding, and I'll use the same class SLDS padding around size medium. Now my div tag is ready, and within this we'll write our logic, And what we're gonna do is, our first step is to demonstrate we can embed Lightning Web Component inside the Aura component. So we're gonna call our Lightning Web Component. So if we have to embed a Lightning Web Component inside a Lightning Web Component, we'll use C hyphen and the component name. But here, as I said, every hyphen should be replaced with a colon. So here we'll call it as C colon, and then our component name, that is LWC Aura Communication, and that's it. And in Lightning Web Component, if I have to call this, how we usually call this, we'll say C hyphen, and we'll replace each capital letter to small letter with a hyphen, like this, right? So but here we'll not change that casing. In Aura, whenever we embed the Lightning Web Component, we'll keep the name as it is and fancy colon in front of it. So now both the component is ready, so let's deploy them, and we'll run the same command, sftx force source push. So the both component deployed. Let's go to our app. In the app, I'm in the component communication page. I'll go to the gear icon, click edit page. We'll place this component here. As we already placed the implements in the top of our Aura component, our component should be visible here. So we'll search for our component name, that is, we'll go quickly and see the name, that is Aura LWC communication. I'll search for Aura LWC communication. Here is my component. I'll drag it to the right hand side. I'll hit save. Let's go back. Now you can see that this is our Lightning Web Component. We have given the message in the Lightning Web Component, and we embed the Lightning Web Component in our Aura component. So the composition is working fine. So let's see how we can pass the data. So I'll go back to the component. If I want to pass the data, I'll say title. In title, I want to pass hello, this message from Aura. So we pass the message in the same format with the attribute, and the same attribute we're gonna use in our Lightning Web Component to cache the data. We come here and we already know how to cache the data. We have to create a public property using @rate API, and the API should be imported from the LWC module. And then what we have to do is we can print this in our HTML, and we'll replace this static text and say whatever the message come, receive that and render in the HTML. Let's deploy and see whether the data passing is working fine or not. Now it's deployed. Let's refresh the page. Now we should see a different message, and the message is hello, this message is from Aura. So that message is passing correctly. So we have seen now how Aura can pass the message to a Lightning Web Component. Now we'll see how we can pass the message from Lightning Web Component back to the Aura. Let's go back to our component, and pass we need an event. So we'll create a button in our Lightning Web Component. So I'll say variant brand, I'll say label send message, and I'll say on click call Aura, and we'll close the button. So now our button is ready, and we're gonna create this handler in our JS file. I'll create this, and now we're gonna create an event. So we'll create a custom event here. So to create a custom event, we'll use new custom event, then we'll pass the event name. I'll say send message is my event name. Then it will take the second parameter is the detail. So in detail, I'll say I want to pass a property message, and that will contain hello from LWC. So now we have created the event. You can say const event, and we're gonna dispatch this event now using this dot patch event and pass that event. So here we created a custom event, and the custom event name is a send message. So now my component in the Aura should able to receive this message, right? So listen this event. Let's go to the Aura component. We'll say here where we have our lightning web component, here I will say on send message. So we already know whenever we pass an event, it should start with the on when we define that event name in the HTML. We'll say on send message. Send message is the custom event that we have created. And here what we're gonna do is we'll say call a method in a JS. So to create a method in Aura, we have a different syntax. So it should be in the quotes. Then within the bracket, we have to use exclamation mark. We have to tell controller dot method name. So C donates here the controller. In the controller, go and call the method handle message. So let's go and create a handle message in the controller, and to find the controller, go to the folder called controller.js, to file controller.js, and here it's some default code is there. We'll change this default name to our method name. It will receive first argument as component, second one is event. Let's remove the helper, we don't need helper. And then what we're going to do is we'll create a property message. We'll create a variable first, and we'll store the message that is coming from the lightning web component. And to fetch that message, we use get param, and param should be the message that you're passing. If you look at your JS file, you're passing the param as message. So here we're gonna use give me the message that is coming in the event form. I'll store it in the message. And now if I want to show it in my component, suppose I want to show it above this, I'll create another div here, and here I want to print that message. To print the message, I need to create an attribute on the top. So first I'll create a container that will hold this message and store or show on the HTML. For that I'll say Aura attribute. Name of that attribute is message. I'll create this type string, and let's close that attribute. Now this attribute we're gonna use this attribute to cache the message that is coming. So we'll come back to the JS file. We'll say component dot set the message to v dot message. So this attribute is started with v means the view is used whenever we want some property to display in the HTML. So it's help us in data binding, and we'll say to this property set the message that has come. So basically this message has that message that is coming from LWC. Now this message property will display in the HTML, and to display it, what we're gonna do is we'll say div, and here I'll say the view dot my property name message. So if you're calling a JS file method, then it will be colon C. If you're calling a view, then colon B. So the message is bind to this property, and that bind message is showing on the HTML now. So let's deploy and see how it works. Now it's deployed. Let's go and refresh the page. And now here you can see that this is the message that we are passing from Aura component to a lightning web component. So this area, this text as well as the button is from lightning web component. Right now no message is coming here because we haven't sent any message from lightning web component to Aura component. And to pass the message, we have to click on the button. So let's click on the button send message, and as soon as I send, it will receive by the event.getParams, and that message gets set to a message property, and that message property is on the HTML, and that's what it's doing. Whatever the message we are passing, it's showing. So now you have seen in this small demo how you can embed the Lightning Web Component inside the Aura component, how you can pass the data from Aura component to Lightning Web Component, and how you can trigger an event from Lightning Web Component to Aura component, and you can pass the data. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.